pretty much the outline how it's going to go. I brought the wrong book, though. Damn. I hate when I do this shit.
NightOutHipHop.com.
Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, #1 chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of After the Buzzers with Lee and Marv. I'm your host, Lee Jones. I got the Hall of Famer with me, Marvin Owens. What's happening, Marv?
What's going on? Happy Sunday, brother.
The same to you, man. Exciting WNBA game just completed. Looks like the Fever's going to get the win. My girl, Angel, you had point blank. Shot to win it. Well, not really point blank, but that was a great game, Marv. The WNBA is on fire right now. We're going to get into a little bit of that a little later. Look, guys, we got a great show for you today. We got some topics just right off the top. Yesterday, first preseason game for the Cleveland Browns. Shedeur versus Deshaun Watson. I got to get Marv's opinion on who should be starting with the Cleveland Browns. Also, this cease and desist. Marv is my resident SEC guy. Cease and desist letter sent by Jayden Daniels to LSU. I want to know, Marv, what's behind it. What do you think LSU's response is going to be? And really, is it a good or bad look for Jayden Daniels? I want to talk about Chris Paul. Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, they both basically retired this offseason. Which one of them had the best career? If you were picking them, Marv, you're a point guard, so you're very equipped. Well, maybe, I don't know, to answer this question. Which one would you rather take? Which one had the better career? I want to know that, Marv. The 24-game playoff. We haven't talked about this, Marv. You're an SEC guy. The SEC is the only conference that's really holding that up right now. The 2014 playoff, is that good for college sports? Is it bad for college sports? Is it inevitable they go there? And then finally, we talked about the WNBA a little bit. With all this media attention, transgender athletes, the Caitlin Clark saga, Congress getting involved, all of this media that's going on around the WNBA, should the WNBA just say, look, F it. I love the attention. Is it good for the league? I want to jump into that, Marv. As always, guys, please like and subscribe to the show. I think this is going to be a great, great show. And, Marv, let's jump right into it. Yesterday, first preseason game for the Cleveland Browns. They lost the game, but that's not the big story around the game. The issue and the big story around it is Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders. They're still in a quarterback battle for the starting job in Cleveland, and mixed reviews on the game yesterday, Mar. But I want to ask you, who should start in Cleveland? Deshaun Watson, who's coming back from 2 Achilles injuries, who was in the final year of his contract with Cleveland, or Shedeur Sanders. They drafted him last year, got 7 starts last year. Which one should start, Marv? The floor is yours.
Well, I have to preface my comments with make sure everybody knows we got the president of the Sanders fan club over here. So remember, when you start to get his opinion about this, it might be a little bit biased because I still think he on the payroll. But let's get to the preseason. I don't take a lot of stock from preseason football, but in this case, this is a big thing with Shedeur and Deshaun Watson. And, I was on the record of saying that I thought Deshaun Watson would be the starter when all was said and done, just because of the contract and just because of all the things that went on with him in Cleveland and them trying to save face. Now, what I saw in the preseason game was pretty much what I expected. I'm waiting to see this Shedeur Sanders that all of you are telling me about, right? All I've seen is the one that went 3-7 last year, the one that was the second to the worst quarterback in the NFL last year, the one that threw 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions last year. And all I kept hearing was because how terrible they were, the offensive line, how terrible the weapons were. That's all I kept hearing, right? then I get to this preseason game yesterday, and although Deshaun didn't set the world on fire, I think somebody who hadn't played in over 2 years since 2024, 2 Achilles tears, that's a pretty big thing to come back from. Managed the game pretty well. He looked elusive. He manipulated the pocket pretty well. I get it, everybody. He only threw the ball for under 10 yards. That's why his completion percentage looked so well. But I was just looking to see if he managed the offense well, and I thought he did. And I thought that what I saw from him was promising for him in terms of his ability to be a starting quarterback again. What I needed to see from Shedeur was put it to rest, right? I need you to come in and show why you're the franchise quarterback that everybody seems to think that you are, right? And I didn't see it. I saw the same things that I saw. Now, yes, Shedeur's going to push it down the field, and we love that about him. But here's my problem though. Shedeur is a traditional quarterback, and Cleveland's line doesn't look like it's been solved. Okay. It looks like we got the same issues. And if I don't need a statue, I need a mobile quarterback. And out of the two, Deshaun still seems like he can move and manipulate the pocket pretty well. So I needed something definitive when I watched the game, and all I got was more question marks about Shedeur. So if I'm Cleveland at this point, Watson is the starter. Now, Shedeur's got a chance to come. He's going to start the game, I think against Buffalo. He's got a chance to redeem it and put some of that stuff to rest. But, what you saw, Lee, you can't say definitively that Shedeur Sanders should be the starter. You got 2 eyes, and I know you know sports really well. So don't let your bias kind of come into play here. Give me the football analysis that I know that you have.
Look, I don't know what the Sanders family did to you, Marv. I really want to research that. What exactly did the Sanders family do to Marvin Orange? I don't know. It's something. I don't know. Maybe when you was at Alabama and Deion was at, I don't know what happened. It's something went on. I just know it. Something went on. But I digress. Let me get to the game. Now, couple things. I did like some of what Deshaun Watson did. He was mobile, like you said. He managed the game very well. They got in and out of the huddle well. He threw the ball pretty accurately, especially in the first quarter. He really did. So there was some positive things from Deshaun, and I like Deshaun. I've always liked Deshaun. But Marv, you hit it on the head. Hell, he didn't throw the ball down the field at all. If you're looking for explosions and getting with Concepcion and Judy and Fannin and all the weapons that they had, they really didn't attack downfield when Watson was in there at quarterback. They didn't throw the ball down the field. They moved the ball. His biggest game was from a screen pass. That's why his 11 for 15, 126 yards. His average per attempt was 8.4 yards, but it was a screen pass. So I didn't see a lot of attacking the ball down the field with Denzel Boston in there as well. They have upgraded the receiving core so they can attack it. So didn't see a lot of that. Now, the flip side with Shedeur. Marv, I know you want to comment on the interception. Now, the interception that he threw.
I said no word about the interception, did I? Nothing came out of my mouth.
In your second lap, I know that's what you're going to do. But look at how with the twos and the threes, Shedeur playing behind the twos and the threes. Look how, first of all, what was interesting to me is how Cleveland called the game the second half when Shedeur was there. They threw the ball constantly down the field. So it was sort of, why did they do more down the field attacking with Shedeur and more of a more reserved game manager type of offense with Deshaun? That was my first observation. Shedeur was accurate down the field, except for the interception. The interception, hey, a little bit of pressure in his face. Ball got away from him. Hey, that's an interception. That's a throw you got to make. Dude was wide open. But I like the fact that they throw the ball down the field, and Shedeur throws a beautiful deep ball. And with the skill set that they have in Cleveland now with Boston and Concepcion and all those guys, they have talent to attack down the field. So for me, Marv, and then the other thing, the biggest thing in the room, and I'll turn it back over to you, is I don't think, and nobody thinks that Cleveland is going to sign Deshaun Watson to another contract, Marv. They're just not going to do it. So why would you start Watson and play him seemingly for the entire year when you know you're not going to bring him back? Don't you want to see exactly what Shedeur Sanders is with all of these new weapons on the team, rebuild offensive line? You have to see that because you have to know where your future is at and where you're going. So for me, and I look forward to Shedeur starting with the Wands next week. Let's see how that turns out before we dig the grave, pour the dirt over and bury him, Marv. And I'll turn it back.
I mean, it's pretty much going to turn out what we saw last year: 3-7, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I keep waiting for this explosive, Shedeur Sanders, this pinpoint precision, this leader that all of you talk about, and all that I see is really a mediocre quarterback. And to your point, if they don't clear up the line issues that they have from last year, we're going to see much of the same. And trust me, Deshaun Watson is going to be your better option if you can't shore up the offensive line. He's just more mobile. And before Deshaun went through all the things that he went, his strength was throwing the ball down the field. Now we know that he had that. So I think that we saw Monken come out a little bit more conservative with him just because he may not have wanted him to put too much pressure on him. It's been 2 years since the man has played. Get him into some game speed. So, yeah, they did call the game a little bit differently, but I think that was more about the fact that he just hadn't played in a while. So I need to see Shedeur with the Ones. I need to see what you're talking about. This quarterback battle is far from over, but to me, I have to see Shedeur absolutely win the job. And if he isn't head and shoulders above Deshaun Watson coming out of preseason, Deshaun Watson's going to start. That's just how it's going to go.
I see it differently. If they're even, why would you start Watson? If they're close, Marv, why would you even start Watson when you have to see if you have a quarterback of the future? If Monken decides that for whatever reason Deshaun is head and shoulders above Shedeur, go with it. But if they're close, I would not start Watson. Now, what do I think is going to happen? I think he's going to start Watson. Well, unless Shedeur lights it up against Buffalo, which is a great test for him, I think he's going to start Watson. But I disagree with that because you know what you have with Deshaun Watson beyond this year. You don't know what you have with Shedeur Sanders. So I'm a Shedeur Sanders guy, not because he's my favorite or anything like that. It's because I think with a young quarterback, you have to play him to see what you got going into this season. Marv, I'll give you the last word if you want to throw anything else back out there.
No, I mean, I think it's viable. I think what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense. I'm just of the mindset that I don't know if Cleveland thinks that Shedeur Sanders is the answer. And that's just kind of what I see. Now, I mean, of course, I could be wrong. I'm not in the inner workings of the franchise and kind of know what's going on, but my eyes tell me that all the stuff that comes out of camp is talking about how close they are. And I know a lot of it is just coach speak, and a lot of it just comes out of the franchise to keep people kind of guessing. But from what I see, I just don't see the separation. And I think Cleveland is in a position, they did a lot of things, got a lot of young talent. I think they're in a position to make some noise. And, they've been tanking long enough. You got to put the guy back there that gives you a chance to compete. So I think Buffalo is going to be an interesting game. And I'm with you on that one. Like if Shedeur comes out and presents himself well with the Ones, then we have a whole different conversation. Right. But as of right now, it's Deshaun Watson. It's Deshaun Watson's job to lose.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. We'll be back next week just to take a look at that. And I will say I think Shedeur is right where he needs to be. And I think we're going to get a different conclusion next week. Guys, tell us what you think about the Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders quarterback battle. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what your comments are. Mark, Jayden Daniels, yeah, boy from the SEC, Washington's starting quarterback coming off of an injury. His camp sent a cease and desist letter to LSU saying that he doesn't want them to use his likeness because they let someone else wear the number 5. Now, Marv, before I turn it over to you, a couple of things I want to say about this. One, I personally believe that this has Jayden Daniels' mother written all over it. I think she is too influential with him. And I think this move sets his image back. He was a clean-cut guy, beautiful smile, hard worker, talented guy. This move really has set him back from an image perspective. Now, they were upset because LSU hasn't given out Joe Burrow's number. And just for the audience and you, Marv, I did a little comparison of Joe Burrow and Jayden Daniels, their senior year. And let's give you the numbers. Passing yards. Jayden Daniels, 4,591 yards. Joe Burrow, 4,253 yards. Total touchdowns accounted for, Jayden Daniels, 46. Joe Burrow, 44. Interceptions, Jayden Daniels, 5. Joe Burrow, 7. QBR, Jayden Daniels, 95. Joe Burrow, 93. So if we're doing a comparison, and should you treat two Heisman Trophy winners the same way, the answer could be yes, I would assume, if you were a school. So if you're just looking at the data from how he was treated compared to Burrow, he may have an argument.
Yeah, but there's a couple of important points that you failed to mention when you did the Burrow and Daniels comparison. Number one, let me say this for all my SEC fans out there, and we all know he's not a real SEC dude. He came from Arizona State. So let's pump the brakes on the fact that he was born and bred and he's an SEC guy. He's not. Came from Arizona State. He came to get himself in a position to go make money, and everybody comes to the SEC to do that because we know we're the best football conference and sports conference in America. So anyway, with that being said, and we know when he left Arizona State too, it was a little bit of controversy in how he left, and he wasn't looked at as the greatest teammate in Arizona State either. But let's fast forward back to this is Chronicle. This isn't me saying it. This is out there. But let's kind of go back to what you said about Joe Burrow. There's an important thing that you missed there. He ingratiated himself with the LSU fan base. But there's also another important point. He went undefeated as a senior. He also won a national championship as a senior and arguably led and orchestrated the best offense we've seen in college football in a long, long time. Okay. So there's some little bit of differences here. Jayden Daniels lost several games at LSU. He won a Citrus Bowl. Okay. Joe Burrow won a national title at LSU with Jamar Chase and Jefferson. I mean, I thought we played the game for championships. That's what I thought. You one of the main proponents about talking about getting rid of bowl games. So we trying to compare a Citrus Bowl to a national championship now? I mean, come on, man. So let's be real. Like Jayden Daniels, you were good. You know, Joe Burrow was great at LSU. There, I don't even think it's close to the effect that Burrow had on LSU in that program as compared to Jayden Daniels. Also, here's the bigger part, Lee. Brian Kelly was your coach, and whatever Brian Kelly promised you ain't gonna hold in the sand with Lane Kiffin. You know, Lane Kiffin don't give a shit about anything that Brian Kelly offered and told Jayden Daniels and his family, right? And last time I checked, your number's got to be in the rafters for it to be recognized, right? Joe Burrow's number ain't in the rafters. Jayden Daniels' number not in the rafters. It was an agreement type of deal. But you know, in football, the numbers don't work out that way on your roster. You got to give numbers. It don't work out
double numbers in college, Marv. You can get double numbers. Let me ask you this.
Lane Kiffin don't owe Jayden Daniels nothing.
Is anyone wearing Joe Burrow's number right now?
No, nobody's wearing it. No.
So nobody's wearing Joe Burrow's number. Nobody at LSU is wearing
He won a national championship. Jayden Daniels win a national championship and go undefeated. Man, they giving out Heisman's now to quarterbacks. Come on, man. I mean, Gino Toretta won a Heisman. Come on, Lee. Like, let's stop that stuff, right? So let's just be real. But I agree, it's a bad look for Jayden Daniels. Like, you did great things. You were really good at LSU. You know, this whole whatever you got going on, I agree with you. This reeks of his team around him, led by his mother. That type of statement, it reeks of that. And it doesn't ingratiate you with fans. And I know you was going to hate it because, you know, he the Commanders quarterback and you with Dallas right now. So I know you're going to pile on to him.
Okay?
But they killing him. They killing him right now, rightfully so, Lee. I think it's just a bad look.
Yeah, can never go back to LSU right now, Mar.
Ever.
I mean,
No.
can never go back to LSU. That's a relationship that's broken. It's not fractured. It's broken. And you know, there are ways to handle that if you even felt that. And so this is not a good look for him. And also, Marv, the fact that he made a statement, but he's been very quiet about the whole situation, right? That doesn't bode well, man. See, for me, the reason you got to speak up, man. You got to own it. He has to be now the head of his team and not a part of his team. And I think that's what's going on more than anything. His mother and whoever else businessman, they're making all the decisions. Man, it's your team, Jayden, and you are looking very, very bad out there. And it's a sad situation because Marvy, the first 2 years of his professional career, he's done everything right.
Yeah.
This is certainly wrong. And I'll turn it back over to you for a second lap.
No, I agree with you. He needs to come out and say something like Joe Burrow did. Joe Burrow squashed it real quick. They asked him about it. He said, man, I don't know nothing about it. He said, if somebody want to wear 9, okay. Like he was just like, whatever. They said that they would. If they don't, somebody needs to wear it. The era of NIL is all different now. So whatever. I don't care. Right. But Jayden needs to come out and say something. And this is an important year for him too, professionally with the Commanders, right? With everything that he accomplished early in his career. You know, we're worried about him being injury prone. Like, he got to get out in front of this stuff. And he's also got to have a pretty good year. So it's a big year for him. But I agree. He got to come out and say something, man.
People will turn on him very, very, even the people within the Commanders fan base, Marv, if he comes out, he gets hurt or doesn't play as well, they'll look back at this and they'll take shots at him for this. That's what you don't want when you're trying to be a big time, corporate entity as far as your brand. That was a bad move, Jayden, man, and you need to clean that up.
Or I go back, Lee, before you move on, I'd even go as far as to, just because I know you're such a Cowboys fan, but I do like what the Cowboys do with the number 88, right? Like, everybody knows about 88 and the lore of that number with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Why couldn't it be something like that with LSU? Yeah. Ole Miss does it, the 12th man with Texas A&M. Like, there's all kinds, right? There's all kinds of things out here that we can make to honor those numbers, and it's a special number for the university. So this whole cease and desist thing, it just stinks. It looks like it just does not look good. Yeah, he got to get out in front of it, man.
You got to get out in front of it, man. I like that. That's a good point, Marv. You could have your starting quarterback now wear number 5 because it's Heisman Trophy winner, whatever case may be. But yeah, that's a bad move. Moving on, and guys, if you have any comments about the Jayden Daniels cease and desist letter to LSU, please comment on it. We want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Marv, so a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, I think, Russell Westbrook announced his retirement. And, of course, Chris Paul announced his retirement during the season. It's going to be his last year. So we have 2 all-time greats. Or maybe they're not all-time greats. You're my point guard. I want you to settle this debate or give me your thoughts on it. 2 point guards, 2 legacy type of players. My question to you, Marv, as both of them transition out of the NBA, which point guard would you rather have on your team, and which point guard had the better career? And I'll let you start us out, Marv.
I mean, I don't even know if this is a close debate, right? I guess it depends on the lens that you watch basketball from and what you deem important. To me, as a former point guard and somebody who sees the point guard role maybe a little bit different than the casual person, I mean, it's Chris Paul all day, every day, 7 days a week, 365. I don't even think it's close. And I mean, we're talking about 9 times all defensive first team. We're talking about somebody who was defensive player of the year runner up at 6 feet, right? We're talking about somebody who led the league in assists. We're talking about somebody who led the league in steals multiple times. The first guy to reach 20,000 points and 10,000 assists. I mean, I can go down the line about Chris Paul, but the most important thing about a point guard is that you make everybody around you better. And every organization that Chris Paul has been with, they've been better because of it, right? We can go with Clippers. We can go OKC. We can go New Orleans. We can go down the list. Everywhere Chris Paul has been, he's affected winning. And you may not like him personally. Some people don't. Some people don't like how he is. But as a point guard and the effectiveness of leading an organization, leading men, making players better, affecting the game without scoring, he's the quintessential point guard. So I love Russell Westbrook. Trust me, I love his passion. I loved how he played the game, but he didn't affect winning a lot. Let's just be real. And he was fun to watch. He was a stat sheet stuffer. He was going to give you everything that he had every night. But from a quintessential point guard perspective, he wasn't the one that I looked at to say, that's who I want to lead my team or organization. He just wasn't. So for me, it's not even close. Chris Paul had the better career, is the better point guard. And I don't even know if this is a conversation unless you're going to bring up triple doubles in an MVP year. Other than that, I'm going to see what you got to say here.
This guy here, I knew it because it's the point guard. Like they say, it's the point guard in it.
It's the point guard, man.
It's a traditionalist point guard in him. And hey, I knew it. Marv, I gotta now. Wait a minute. Let me say this because I want you to comment on this before I go. So you're going to dismiss all of the Clipper years with one of the best teams in the NBA and couldn't get to the finals. You're going to dismiss all of that, correct?
No, I'm not going to dismiss it, but I would find that to be relative is if Russell Westbrook won a championship, right? Like if Chris Paul got to the finals, like with one of when he was, right. So. I mean, I would give you that. I mean, we could say the same thing about Westbrook with KD and James Harden back when they was young. Like, they're in the same ballpark with that. So you can give me the Clippers and that they didn't win a chip there, but we know that was about more than just Chris Paul. That was about Doc Rivers and some other things that were going on. But Westbrook didn't win one either. So I mean, that's kind of it kind of plays itself out because neither one of them did.
Russell Westbrook. Now, of course, Westbrook scored more than Paul, 20 to 16. He rebounded more, 7 rebounds to 4.5 rebounds. Interesting. Their assist totals, Marv, are not that far off. Paul averaged 9.2 for his career. Russ averaged 8 assists.
Oh, wait. We can see that. That's very. I love how you did that right there. See, people, you got to watch Lee. He real slick with this. Okay, we gonna go with averages versus all time, right? Like who Chris Paul is where on the all time assist leader in the NBA? Where is he?
I think he's second or third. I mean, I don't know.
Second.
But he's
second. Westbrook is nowhere close, but that was slick. I love how you did that. I love how you did that.
For me, it's average per game. It's how you affect the game. They're right there, 9.2 to 8. I didn't make it up. This is what the stat is. Okay, both of them are on the 75-year anniversary team. 9-time All-Star. Paul is a 12-time All-Star. Russ won the MVP. Which is a determining factor in this, Marv. He's an MVP winner, MVP of the league.
Chris Paul was Rookie of the Year.
Russ was Rookie of the Year as well. So they have a lot of similarities. Where I tend to go towards Russ's impact on the game is more than Chris Paul's. I mean, it's just, Marv, you cannot deny that. I mean, I knew, you want to make sure that you're setting up people and they're, all that stuff, and I get it. But the impact that Russell Westbrook has had on the game now we got the last 2 or 3 years, it's been different, but the impact that he's had, Marv, is undeniable.
Let me ask you this, Lee, for when we talk about most athletic point guards in NBA history, he is up there, right? Yeah. His name is going to be mentioned. It is a travesty that he never made all defensive team. Travesty. that Westbrook, as athletic and impactful as you say he's been on a basketball court, didn't impact the game defensively the way he should have with his athletic ability. And that's a big part of being a point guard. Point guards are the first people that you see down the floor. They set the tone offensively and defensively, right? If you look at Chris Paul over his career, most of the teams that he's been on, they've been really good defensively. Why? Because he set the tone, right? And that's an effort thing. Now, he'll give you all day on the offensive end of the court, and I will not debate you on that. But there are other things about basketball that affect winning. And a lot of little things that Chris Paul did that affected winning that Westbrook just didn't do that well. So I'm going to give you all the stuff that you're saying. But if you asking me for a pure point guard, and if you took a poll in the NBA, I know it wouldn't happen, but if you could take one and they would ask, I hands down, people would say they'd rather play with Chris Paul.
You say defense, and let me say this: he didn't. I don't even think he made a defensive first team. I don't think Russell ever made a defensive first team, a second team either. However, Marv, you wanted to throw that in there. However, he's rebounding, he's scoring, he's assists, he's doing everything. So if he takes a break on defense, okay, maybe he's not the greatest defender because he's doing all this other stuff. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double 4 years in a row, Marv. 4 years in a row. His MVP season, he averaged 31.6 points a game, 10.7 rebounds, and 10.4
and they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
Okay, we didn't say that their team wasn't great.
So I love the individual accolades, but it doesn't make you the best point guard. It doesn't say that you had the best career, right? For me, a point guard has to check a whole bunch of boxes, right? And he just doesn't check the same amount of boxes to me that Chris Paul does. And remember, there's one thing that nobody ever brings up about Chris Paul. The playoff game where he set the record for assists and had 0 turnovers in an NBA playoff game. That to me is one of the, if you ever played the point guard position and you're under duress and you're trying to lead a team and you're trying to get people open shots and you're doing all the other things to have 0 turnovers, and his assist to turnover ratio, I think, is one of the highest we've ever seen in the NBA.
Probably. Yeah.
It's either 1 or 2. So he's the quintessential floor leader. So I love Westbrook, but he can't even hold a candle to Chris Paul as in a point guard situation. Everything else you're talking about, scoring, all right, I'll give you all that.
I think impact, though. I mean, and I get it. Look, I love Chris Paul. I'm not bashing him because I think as far as a floor general, and then I love his intensity as a player, not even a point guard, as a player. And he did make people better the way a point guard should. But when we're talking about career and impact on the game, I got to go with Russ. Russ, night in and night out, he was the main man that everybody had to stop. And then the other thing, Marv, take away the Oklahoma City years with KD and Harden. Harden left, even with KD. What other great team did Russell Westbrook play on? Now, when you flip it over to Chris Paul, he had
hold on.
Let me finish. He had years with the Clippers, and then, hell, he had the best team in the league with Houston, and they didn't get it done. So that's a knock against him as a leader and a player because he played on much better teams.
It wasn't a knock against Westbrook when he went to Houston with Harden. You're losing me here a little bit because you just gave me Chris Paul with Houston as a knock on his ability to lead. But that's not a knock on Westbrook and his ability to play with Harden. And he forced that trade to Houston. Remember that. He forced his way to Houston.
The Houston team with Paul was completely loaded, Marv. You know this. They were loaded. They were better than OKC. I mean, better than Golden State, but they couldn't get over the hump. Paul, that's when he started getting injured all the time and I don't know what his conditioning was, but then you have a Westbrook who damn near plays 80 games a year.
The only reason Houston didn't make it to the finals that year is because Chris Paul got hurt. We both know that.
Take better care of his body, Marv.
Come on, man. He played in the NBA. He played in the NBA almost 20 years. That's doing something right with your body, man. I mean, come on.
And then my final thing against him, is how it ended with the Clippers, Mar. I mean, you hear trying to show up the coach. You're trying to backdoor the players. Not a good look for an all-time great. Just for me, I got to go with Westbrook, his career. I just think he had and when I'm looking at impact on the game, and that's where I stand at it, I would go with Russell Westbrook.
Well, I mean, you used to being wrong, so this is no different. So I'm okay with it. I mean, you're a Cowboys fan for goodness sake. So you can't. I
didn't even want to get into the Cowboys, but they sure looked good last night. Their 2s and 3s were better.
Well, I tell you what, if I had a nickel for every year the Cowboys fans talk about preseason and it's time for a Super Bowl run, boy, that offensive line don't look like got a lot of depth though. You still got some problems on them defense, but we'll have plenty of time to get into that.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about it, but I like what I saw. But Marv likes Chris Paul. I think the edge goes to Westbrook. Guys, what do you think? Hit us up and let us know. Marv, going back, let's go to college football real quick. Because, the season is about to kick off in a couple of weeks. The NCAA or CFP committee meeting in August. I think they meet next week. And then they have a follow-up meeting in September. They have till, I think, December the 15th to decide if they're going to change the CFP number of teams that are going to be in the playoffs. As you know, we're at 12 now. I think the Big 12, the ACC, and the Big 10 all are in agreement that they'd like to see a 2014 playoff. The one holdout, as usual, because this is the delusional conference, and they think that they run college football when we know they don't anymore, is the SEC. I think they're more in line with a 16-team playoff. The consensus is that CFP will go to 24 at some point. Marv, two questions for you. One, should the SEC continue to hold out on the 24-team playoff? And is a 2014 playoff a good look for college football?
I mean, I think you know where I stand on this. I'll get on. Is it a good look for college football? Of course it's not. I mean, we all know that this is about money, and the college football is a business. It generates billions of dollars, and the more teams you can have in a playoff, the more TV spots you can have, the more regional coverage you get, the more money you make from networks. And I get it; it's a business decision for college football. But if we're talking about the parity, and if we're talking about putting a good product on the field when it comes to the college football playoffs, then no, it's not. I mean, even a 12-game playoff has showed you how big of a discrepancy there are between the haves and the have-nots, right? And you're going to dilute the field with more teams. We know what's going to happen. It's going to be a really bad product until you get down to about the final 6. That's just what it's going to be. The thing that college football had going for it was the fact that it was unique in the sense that it was like no other sport that we watched, Lee. Every Saturday mattered, right? It didn't matter who you were playing. You could not lose, or if you lost, you had to hope somebody else lose. That was what was so unique about college football. And everybody tells me that, well, college basketball has March Madness, but there's also 40 games in a season in college basketball, and every game doesn't matter. You're not glued to your seat every game on Tuesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday when college basketball is playing, watching a game because it matters. That what built college football were rivalries. What built it was the ability for people to get together on Saturdays and watch a game that counted for their university. And when you start to take that away, you're going to start to kind of cut away at the fabric that made college football so great. So they can do it, and I'm fine with it. But I'm telling you, it's going to lose the luster of what made college football so great and what made it a billion-dollar industry in the first place, because everybody wanted to be a part of it and everybody wanted to watch. The SEC, we don't need to do anything. Hold out. I mean, what are we not? What are you gaining? What what are you gaining from not? What are we gain? What is college football gaining from a 2014 playoff? Tell me, because it's not a product on the field.
Well, Marv, right? Wait a minute. So when you look at First of all, rivalries are dead in college football.
They're not. They're dead to people who want to make money. Sure,
Washington,
they're dead to hedge funds. They're dead to all the people who are coming in, getting their hand in the pocket of college football. They've never been dead, Lee. They've never been dead. It's a narrative that you have made it to say that college football rivalries are dead. Right? Ohio State, Michigan's dead?
Basically.
No.
Basically.
And they'll never be. So why do they still play?
Auburn, Alabama.
Why do they still play?
Look, other than the alumnus like yourself and alumnus for Auburn and Alabama's luster when they play after it's over. Nobody watches that game. Nobody cares about that game anymore.
It was a second highest viewed game in college football last year, Lee. I mean, come on. It was the second highest viewed game, including playoff games. So that's just factually not correct.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the regional rivalries. Washington State.
You're right. Nobody does care about them. You're right.
Florida
There's
State,
about 6 or 7 that you don't care about.
Nobody cares about that. So the college football as an entity, it's been diluted already.
So let me ask you this: who is the nobody you talking about? Because the nobodies that I know, that everybody, if you got Coach Keaton on here and asked him that question, I know what he would say.
I would hope
anybody who's affiliated with the game or puts blood, sweat, and tears into this, or players or people who are in this would say something completely different. It's the people who want to sit in front of a TV or the people who have the strings and pulling the puppets that are making money that say this don't matter anymore.
Look, we see in every other sport that has a playoff, we see dominant teams play lesser teams because of seeding, and they get beat. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens in every sport we have. But people in college football seem to think that that's a bad thing. No, we want David to beat Goliath, and if they don't, we want them to have at least the opportunity. So a 2014 playoff, Marv, I think you still have the intrigue all the way through the end of the season because you want to be in that top 4 to get a bye. You want to be in that top 8 to host a playoff game at home. This intrigue. You're going to watch the season all the way down to the end of the season.
All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a tidbit real quick to let you know what you're saying don't really hold a lot of water. And so who won the national championship last year? Indiana, right?
Absolutely.
The year before that, it was who? Was it Michigan or Ohio State?
It was Ohio State.
It was Ohio State. You know who Ohio State lost to at home? That was a 6-5 team and didn't play in their conference championship and won the national championship that year. Who did they lose to that was 6-5, Lee? They lost to Michigan. They lost to Michigan at home and went on and won a national championship. And you know why? And you know why they were allowed to get in? Because now you've bubble wrapped this thing with the 12-team playoff. You're allowing teams a 6-5 loss at home to a national contender to knock you out of any contention. And that was what was so great about college football. Now, when you telling me that a 5-loss Iowa probably could have made the college football playoff last year, a team that lost to a 6-5 terrible Michigan on the road won the national championship. Now you're saying the regular season doesn't matter. I don't care what you do. It's your conference affiliation that matters.
It's no different than all of the SEC crying, trying to get a 3-loss team into the playoffs.
But they didn't, Lee. But they didn't.
But they were crying trying to get a 3-loss team into the playoffs.
What conference doesn't cry about getting their team? Because that's revenue. Isn't that what we're talking about here? The whole revenue share? You just said it was okay if a 5-loss Iowa team made it.
What if they won their conference? That's different. But a 3-loss non-conference winner, you want to get them into the playoffs. Why would you do that?
What I like to do is talk about what's factually correct. What's factually correct is that Ohio State lost to a 6-5 Michigan and went on and made the play and didn't play in their conference championship game, mind you, and went on and won a national championship. And now your argument to me is that the SEC crying about a 3-loss team not making the college football playoff, which they didn't, right? They did not make the playoff, right? So I don't understand. We're not crying about anything anybody else wouldn't cry about, because hell, if you want to let everybody make it, then why shouldn't the 3-loss team make it?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's why the SEC, they're so hypocritical, because they cried the whole time last year about Texas and all these teams that didn't get in, saying that they should have been in when they lost 3 games. I mean, come on, this is ridiculous.
And then you saw the product in the college, and then you saw the product in the college football playoff, right?
We got Alabama in, who shouldn't have been in. They were a team that got,
they played in their conference championship game, and they lost to a Georgia team that they beat on the road earlier that year. So by all the criteria, the metrics that matter to make the playoffs, they met them all. So no matter what your personal opinion is about Alabama, the metrics got met to make it to the college football playoff.
Yeah, what
the outcome was doesn't matter either, but their metrics say, from what they did during the regular season, which now you're telling me shouldn't matter anymore. We don't care about no regular season no more. Let's get 24. We might as well put North Dakota State in there.
Let's structure it the right way. I don't mind that the SEC gets multiple teams in. Let's structure it the right way. 24 teams will allow the best teams, because, Marv, really, when we start to parse the top 12, we still have, out of that top 12, 16, 17, 18
Lee, you know damn well it's 5 or 6 teams that could win a national championship. Outside of that, nobody stands a snowball's chance in hell. Iowa, SMU, I don't care, Arizona State, all these teams that got put in, they don't stand a chance in hell. This is about revenue and greed, okay? This isn't about a product on the field. And 12 looked awful. And you telling me now that 24 is going to be a better product? It's going to be trash.
I would love 24, because they need to get rid of all these meaningless, sorry bowl games.
Yeah, it's meaningless and sorry to people who don't compete. It's meaningless and sorry to the guys who don't play. It's meaningless to all the people who make the decisions for college football, but it's not meaningless to the kids that actually sacrifice to do these things.
Don't want to play in these games. Half of them opt out. You playing in front of 3/4, sometimes
half of them don't. Hey,
Lee. Nobody wants that.
Hey, Lee, newsflash. SEC got the most players in the NFL last year, right? They beat their own record. Let's go to this. So you telling me that Arizona State making a bowl game and getting the swag and doing the stuff that they do to make a bowl game, you telling me when you got 2 players that might make the NFL on team, that don't matter for them to play one more game? That don't matter to them?
No, these players don't. They don't. That one game means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Stop it.
Get enough teams in a playoff to where they're playing a meaningful game in a playoff that could advance them to a national championship. Get them in a meaningful game. The Liberty Bowl and the Citrus Bowl, none of that stuff matters anymore, Mark. And you know this.
It does matter. It matters to people who.
Mark, your own conference has losing records in these bowl games. It doesn't matter to them.
That's because they're opting out, because we have the most people being drafted by the NFL. God. So why would I lose millions for a bowl game? See, that doesn't make sense. So I agree with you in that perspective. I wouldn't do it either. That's a business decision, right? You put yourself in a position to go off and make money. So that's a business decision.
It's a business decision, but Marv, the model, the 2014 model, and I can't wait till they get there. I'm hoping that they go ahead and make the decision. Sankey gets on my nerves. He thinks he's a know-it-all. He's up here talking about they can succeed and all that foolishness. They're not going to do that. That's just talk. And it gets on my nerves that the SEC is holding this beautiful potential product championship tournament, holding it hostage over some foolishness. And when all the other conferences, all the other Power 4 conferences wanted to happen,
there's only one other conference that matters. It's the Big Ten. Of course, the ACC is going to do it. Of course, the Big 12 going to do it. What the hell else they going to do? Of course, they going to get on board with it. We doing it because we can. You know why we can? Because we the SEC. You know why we can do that? Because we put the most players in the league. That's the leverage that's the leverage we have. Nothing. If you played a national championship game or a playoff and there wasn't an SEC team in it, you might as well put an asterisk by it because you didn't play the best. And you know.
Well, we know now that it's over for the SEC. They hadn't won a championship in 4 years. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh man, I know. 17 of the last 20, and then you lose a few. It's just over. I get it. I know. It's a cute narrative.
More to come. So, Marv? And last question I have on this for you: do you support a 16-team playoff that the SEC has really said they would agree to?
No, I don't. I think it should stay at 12. I don't even think it should have went to 12. But yeah, whatever. No, I don't support it.
Wow. It's
trash. The product's been trash, man. I can watch football. I got 2 eyes. I can see a product on the field, and it's trash. The playoffs have been trash.
This is this traditional stuff that really bothers me with Marv. He's a traditionalist to the fault. Let's open this thing up. Let's keep everybody involved.
Let's just put more trash
all the fan
out there.
bases involved, and have something where on the last week of the season, we're like, damn, if they win or they lose, it's just like the NFL. Because that's what it is.
So you don't think that's what made college football great in the beginning, was that every game mattered? So now you're saying, the last week of the season, now it's going to matter. We're going to all come together so we can get seeding. That's what made college football so special, and you've lost it. And good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck, college football.
I look forward to it. Please, somebody talk to Sankey. Look, man, stop being so arrogant and go with this 24-game playoff. This has been a great topic. I love debating with my guy Marv because he brings the passion. And it's kind of misguided sometimes when it comes to the SEC. He does it with blinders on. But, hey, I love the debate with him. Marv, last topic. This has been a great show. I love it. Last topic that I wanted to get into, a little bit of the WNBA. They're winding their season down, getting ready to I think they have approximately 10 games left in the regular season, getting ready to go into the playoffs. I think it's been a very good WNBA season. I think the teams they're jostling for position. It's been great. The revitalization of the Minnesota Lynx and Olivia Miles and all of Asia Wilson still as dominant as ever. And so it's been a great year for them. Now, a lot of controversy around a lot of different topics. I want to get into a couple of them with you, Marv. But the one thing that I want, and the question that I want to throw out to you, Marv, is, should the WNBA stop fighting and pushing back on all the media scrutiny and attention and just embrace it and move forward? Because for me, Marv, all leagues had to do it. You remember in the 70s, Marv, how, they said the NBA was, drug infested and all the players was on, doing uppers and downers and cocaine and stuff. And all of that scrutiny was good for the NBA, to be honest with you, because they had to clean themselves up. They had to change the model. Remember, it was on tape delay during that time. And they had to change the rules. And then you got Magic and Bird, and the NBA came back, right? But all eyes on the NBA. That scrutiny led to a marketing focus behind Bird, Magic, whether it was racially based or not, don't care, but it was based off of embracing the negative attention and moving forward. Here in the WNBA, we the whole Caitlin Clark thing, the whole, Congress getting involved, the whole transgender issue. Should they just embrace it and look at how more and more eyes are going towards the WNBA and watching these games and say, well, bad publicity, good publicity, the game is growing. What are your thoughts?
It's a tough one. I don't like it because, I know you refer to me as a purist, and I am when it comes to basketball. And I think people are missing the point on just how good this league is right now, right? And how good the basketball is that these professional women basketball players are playing. I don't like the attention that is it Sophie Cunningham? I think that's who it is, or whatever. I mean, she averages barely 9 points a game. And every time you turn the television on, she's having an interview. She's talking about something. And what I see is a lack of message, right? And that comes from leadership. That comes from top down. And I don't know if the Kathy Engelbert, I think that's her name. I don't know if she is the person to lead this organization or this business into the foreseeable future. I don't think
Never
she
see
runs
her,
away.
Mar. You never
Yeah.
see her. She never speaks. It's remarkable for a commissioner.
It is, and it started with me with the whole CBA deal, with the way that she kind of collapsed that, and the lack of communication she had with players, and then the Fisa Collier had to call her out, like so. There's not a clear message when it comes to everybody kind of staying on message and promoting just how great this game is, because you've got great stories, like you said, Minnesota Lynx and Olivia Miles just doing things that you haven't seen. You have the Valkyrie. Nobody talks about the expansion team with I think it's the Mitchell young lady that's playing her ass off and got them in second place that nobody talks about. You got Kelsey Mitchell with Indiana that's getting a PhD right now while she's playing a damn season and leading with 20 points, like the most ever in the history of the game. There's so many great stories about the WNBA, but all we hear is all the other things that this league is kind of taking the forefront for. And that comes to me from leadership, lack of messaging, lack of, hey, we putting a gag on you. You need to shut your ass up. Like something that needs to happen, because too many things are being highlighted that is taken away from just how great this league is now and how much it has grown. And then you have a lot of casual fans that kind of come in. And, you can't avoid the tabloid sports journalism. I mean, that's where we are these days with a lot of these things. But there is a way to stay on message, though, right? And there is a way not to give some of this stuff life. And you got WNBA players on Twitter beefing with each other. Like, it just doesn't look good. And when I watch the NBA, and then I'll let you go here, Lee, when I watch the NBA, all I watch is people talk about the game, right? All we talk about is LeBron, where he is, his greatness. We talk about teams underachieving, overachieving, whatever the case may be, but we talk about the game. With the WNBA, we talk about everything but the game. And I think that that's unfortunate. I would love to see that change.
Yeah, good point. Good point. But, we're looking at it in a different lens, because 30 years in the W, they had 100 years in the NBA. So we're at a different time frame of their existence. But look, I mean, we know that there's been great basketball in the W for years. Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Brittany Griner, Tina Thompson. It can go on and on. Dinah Taurasi. It goes on and on and on, Mark. But up until the last 3 years, it's been this viewership explosion. And with that, there have been growing pains. I agree with you on the Kathy Engelbert thing. I think certain days are numbered as the commissioner. You cannot survive with the way you allow people to attack your league that you're a commissioner, and you don't respond, you don't check people, you don't put people in their place. You cannot survive that way. And so I think her days are numbered, and they'll get a new commissioner probably next year. But I say embrace it, because it's bringing more eyes to the league. And then once people start to drill in and watch, Marv, once they start watching the games, because they want, for whatever reason, they want to see if there's going to be a hard foul on Caitlin Clark or what Angel Reese is wearing, or whatever the case be. If they watch it, they see an excellent product. It's kind of counterproductive to be on the defensive all the time about everything. And I think I would say, whatever they say, roll with it. You do need some strong leaders, and I think they have those strong leaders. They need to allow those leaders to speak more, Marv. And you're right. I don't need a person that's averaging 9 points to be the spokesman of the league. I need the Caitlin Clarks, the Asia Wilsons, the Alicia Grays, the Angel Reeses, the superstars of the league, to be able to express their opinion. But media scrutiny is what it is. But you've brought more eyes. You have people talking about it. And, I don't like the foolishness that Enes Kanter and Royce White did. I thought that was just them trying to prop themselves up. Hell, you had a chance. You were in the NBA. You didn't do shit. That's what I say. So you had a chance to set up, but that was just for clicks. I just think the media doesn't hurt them. I say embrace it and move forward.
And I think you brought up an important point, because I was going to say that too about Enes Kanter and Royce White, and And as men, right, and in an industry that's dominated by male journalists, like I don't see enough male journalists sticking up for WNBA, the league, its players, and saying things that we know that they can't say. And we can have whatever feelings that we want to have about the transgender conversation, all the things that are going on, but it's a very nuanced conversation, right? It is not black and white, even though people want to make it black and white. And for Enes Kanter and for Royce White to do what they did was it was some punk ass shit. Let's just say it what it is. You know, both of you it was a punk ass shit that you did, and you shouldn't have done it, and you shouldn't have done it at the expense of a really good league and women trying to get equal footing when it comes to being paid as professionals and all the things that they're trying to do. So I wish I would see, like, even with Stephen A. Smith, it's just too much tabloid journalism when it comes to the WNBA. And I get click sell, but I do like what Ryan Clark said when he kind of stood up. You know, haven't always been on the same side with Ryan Clark, but I like those guys, you know, defending the WNBA and calling out people in terms of the way that they talk about the WNBA. Let's talk about the game. Yeah. Talk about how great the game is, and let's leave it at that. Stop giving life to all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's sad because in today's environment, you know, Royce White was running for office, right?
He thought
that was going to boost him up, and he finished last with the three people that were on there. Man, it's sad that you would do that, and people take shot at these ladies. It's unbelievable. You made a great point. The media, they don't, especially males, and Marvin, a league that's predominantly African-American too, for the African-American media not to support these women is a travesty, in my opinion, that they tend to go along with the flow. And so, but I want to ask you this, Marv. With the scrutiny of the media, there's really no way to beat it. There's no way to silence it. Why then fight it would be my question to you, Marv.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. I think you're right. I think you do have to embrace it in a sense, but to me, that's where the leadership component comes into play with the commissioner of this league and getting everybody on the same page and in terms of how we represent this league. Yes, you can't stop the trolls. You can't stop some of these conversations that happen, but we can control our narrative in the way that we present our game, right? And I think she's done a really shitty job at that. And you can't have a head of an organization that you're trying to grow be so absent. Like you said, you don't see her at all. And to me, you can't grow this game. And look, and they've been growing it. Like you said, you know, this year, the attendance is up more than it was last year, and it's at all-time highs, and they have a new CBA. So the trajectory is up, but you've got to have somebody represent this league that's going to fight for them. And she got to go. That's just I don't know how you do it. I don't know how they vote her out, but she's got to go. But yeah, Lee, I think you're right. You got to embrace it because it does put your game on the map for whatever reason. I know they used to always say, you know, all publicity is good publicity, or whatever the saying used to go. I just hate the way that they get dragged sometimes, but I'm gonna still watch because I love the game and I think that they're phenomenal players.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win it all? Is Minnesota run away, or do you think the Aces can put up that magic that they put up every year when they get to the playoffs? And the Dream, which probably is the most from 1 to 7, I would say the Dream has the most talent of any team in the league. There's some other factors that's holding them back. Fever has Clark, Mitchell, and Boston. Who you think the front runners are as we close?
Yeah, I want to say Minnesota. You know, I think their youth, but you know, Collier and some of they've been there. They've been there and done it. They added the young Miles to the mix, and the way she controls the game, man, it's just like nothing I've seen before. She's so good. And I think Asia, they're a little long in the tooth at this point with the Aces. I don't know if they can pull that magic out, but I wouldn't go against them. You know, that veteran presence, and look, all you got to do is win. It's 4 out of 7, I think, for the finals with the WNBA finals. All you got to win is 4. So I'm gonna roll with Minnesota. I think it's gonna be really hard to beat them in a series. But it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun. And if Indiana could get anything, you know, if they can stay consistent, them two guards are hard to deal with. And you know, I've been critical about Caitlin Clark's game in terms of the mid-range finishing her. She's gotten better. I got to give her some credit. She's worked on some of her deficiencies that plagued her. And you saw it tonight in the game. She's gotten better. So it'll be interesting down the stretch to watch the WNBA.
If Indiana embraces Kelsey Mitchell as the lead, let Caitlin do what she does. I like Caitlin off the ball a little bit more, and continue to flow it through Boston. They have a shot. They're very talented big three, and so that my last thing on the WNBA, I don't know why Vegas cut Kennedy Carter. They really didn't come out and say why.
Mm-mm.
That was a mistake, Marv.
It was a mistake.
And I would have finished the season out with her, because no matter what you say, she's a bucket waiting to happen, and she takes the pressure off of Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
In ways that nobody else on that team can, right? The other point guard, she's good, but Carter is a dominant scorer. That was a mistake. I think that was Becky Hammond flexing her muscle. That's going to hurt the Aces. Any closing thoughts?
Becky got that Popovich in her, so she good for that sometime. But yeah, my closing thought is that I gotta give Lee a little bit of credit here. And going back to Indiana, I think it might have been about 2 years ago when he made a statement. We was talking about Caitlin Clark coming to Indiana, and he told me, and I called him crazy. He told me that Kelsey Mitchell was the best player on that team. And he made this statement about 2 years ago. And I dragged him. I talked about him all day, every day, about, man, he don't know basketball. And I always feel like I know basketball better than anybody. But I got to give him his props. He was right. All right. So I don't say this much, but I'm going to give you props on seeing that one, because she a bad girl, man. And they go as far as she takes them. But she's fun to watch, and she a bad girl. So kudos to you for calling that out 2 years ago before she even got to this point.
Well, I appreciate it, Marvin. Just take the what I'm saying about the Cowboys this year. I want you to take that as well. Hey, I know what I'm talking about, man. I know what I'm talking about. Hey, this has been a great show. Look, this is how we do it. My guy is back. Hey, if you want intelligent sports talk, passionate sports talk, and sometimes bias as well, but we'll leave that alone. Tune in to After the Buzzers with Lee and Marv. This is how we do it. We're out. We'll see you next week.